Now, I know what you're thinking. Anthony, where is your pop filter? And to that, I say subscribe, and maybe I'll get one. Hello, everybody. My name is Anthony, one half of Thunder and Lightning Gaming, specifically the Thunder part. Here's me cosplaying a female. So, as a lot of you know, I love Pokemon, and a new Pokemon game came out. So, I'm going to review it, but I'm going to try to do it without a script. I took some bullet point notes, which I realize are in my phone, which is recording my face right now. So I'm probably not going to be able to read those. But yeah, I'm going to try and do it without a script. We'll see how it goes. Now, as many of you probably already know, I love Pokemon. And Pokemon is a series that has been going on for many, many years, well past 20 years at this point. And they have a lot of titles, even just in their main series of games. But when you're a series that goes on for that long, you're going to tend to have a few duds. So, that being said, here's my review of Pokemon Shield for the Nintendo Switch. So, before I say anything else, I just want to get this off my chest. I really liked this game. It was a Pokemon game through and through. When I wasn't playing it, I wanted to be playing it. When I was playing it, I didn't want to put it down. And I genuinely had a lot of fun playing it. So for all one of you who doesn't know, very briefly, Pokemon is an RPG at its core. It's an RPG where you run into monsters and you can collect them and trade them and battle them, and that's really the whole appeal. You know, gotta catch them all. There's 1,000 of these little dudes, and you can catch whichever ones you want and play through the story with them. So here's where my first complaint for Pokemon Shield lies. The game is too short. I'm not just gonna, say that and leave it at that. I'm going to explain that a bit. Typically, an RPG, depending on the publisher and depending on the type of RPG, is anywhere between 30 to 80 hours long. Now, Pokemon games are usually on the shorter side because they are for kids. And so Pokemon games are typically 20 to 35 hours is where they usually lie. This game is about 12 to 15. Now, that wouldn't be an issue, for me especially. A lot of people have the mentality where they're like, if I pay this much money for a game, it should be this long. Not the case. I don't believe in that at all. Perfect example, my favorite game of the year so far, I think, Resident Evil 2. Full $60, maybe a 8-hour game. That's fine, And I know I'm a little biased because I played through that game 10, 11, 12 times, but even if you're just playing through it the once, I think it's a worthy experience for $60. I am a firm believer in the opposite of a full price game should be this many hours or whatever. So that's fine. Where my issue lies is how much nothing there is to do in this game. Everything is battling, which normally wouldn't be a bad thing, except Pokemon is so much more than that now, especially when you're playing through the story. There's mini games, there's objectives, there's dungeons, if you will. But this one, everything was battling. You start the game, you do a couple tutorial battles. Fine. You do a couple battles here and there, but not as many as you'd think. And then you do the 8 gym challenges. They don't take that long at all. The map is super small, so it's super easy to navigate in a short amount of time. Then you get to the conflict, the Team Rocket of this game, if it were, the bad guys. They don't have a hideout. It's just a series of 6 or 7 battles, and that's it. There's no, maze, there's no dungeon. It's just battles. It's literally an elevator shaft that you're going up. I got excited because they were like, it's 200 floors long, and you stop 3 times and you do some battles. So with this Pokemon game specifically, you take part in battles, you complete battles, and you are rewarded with more battles until eventually you've battled your way to the last battle, and then you've battled enough. Then, bringing me to my next point, after you become champion, which, spoiler, you become champion in this one. After you become champion, there is barely anything to do. Usually, my favorite part of a Pokemon game is finding my own fun in the post-game. What little post-game there is here made me very upset. The post-game is this. You meet 2 new characters. They want the legendaries. You fight them a couple times. You fight a couple different people a couple times. You catch the legendary. That's it. And then it's hey, that big tower that was the final boss's tower or whatever, it's a battle tower now. You can do that if you want. Other than that, that's pretty much it. My complaint isn't with the story. The story was fine. It felt a little rushed, just kind of like how this whole game felt. But I don't care. I don't really care about the story in a Pokemon game if the journey is fun. Because the whole point of a Pokemon game is catching new Pokemon and training new Pokemon and becoming the champion. Those are the 3 things that I care about. And those are the 3 things I think the game wants you to care about. And with the story, I think that they finally realized that. But what they've done is they've diluted this one so much that it ends up being so very short. The 2 new big things that they added in this game are the wild areas and Dynamaxing, or raid battles, or whatever you want to call it. The wild area is neat. It's a big part of the game that is just straight up an open world map. There's Pokemon everywhere. You can see them, which is pretty neat. And you can go anywhere you want right away. I didn't actually know that. I thought part of the wild area was sectioned off until later in the game. Not the case. You can traverse the whole wild area from the very beginning. And it's cool. It's genuinely cool. But the issue, and it's not really an issue, I guess more so it's a feature, but I didn't care for it. Sometimes you find Pokemon in the wild that are like level 60, and all your guys are like level 20, level 19, whatever. And you quite literally cannot catch them. You do not gain the ability to catch Pokemon at a higher level until later in the game. You unlock that with each gym badge. That mechanic would be fine, but when it's mixed with the you can see the Pokemon and you can be like, oh, Onix, I love Onix, I'm going to go catch that. And you walk over to the Onix and it's like, oh, cool, it's a level 40 and all my dudes just hit level 17. I guess I'll run and catch it some other time. The other thing, the raid battles, is something that a lot of people have been saying is their favorite part, but I really don't like it. This is in place of Mega Evolution and Z moves. So once per battle, for 3 turns, you can Dynamax your Pokemon. And what that means is they get huge, like literally physically huge, and they get more HP and better stats and stuff, and their moves change. And sometimes, depending on the specific Pokemon you have, they can Gigantamax, which means they also change form. Those look really cool. Dynamaxing is really cool. It's also incredibly boring. So you can't Dynamax whenever you want, which is already a downside when compared to Mega Evolution and Z moving, because those had its limits, but you could do them in any battle. You can't Dynamax in every battle you want. It has to be in like a Dynamax arena, for a lack of a better term. Then you get into raid battles, which is you go up to like this hole in the ground, and it's like, it's glowing. There's a Dynamax Pokemon in there. You and 3 strangers have to get up in there and catch it. And raid battles are A, difficult, and B, super boring. I don't know. I don't have anything more nuanced than that to say. I just didn't like them. They bored me. They took too long. And when you get to a high enough level, unless you can find real people to raid with, you're just straight up not going to do it. It's not going to work. Recently, I got into a raid battle, and I was actually having fun with it. I was like, oh, this is working. I get this. This is fun. This is how raid battling is like supposed to feel like. I get this now. And then it was time to catch the Pokemon. I threw a Pokeball, and it didn't stay in the Pokeball, and then it ran away. And it was like, oh, well, all the fun I thought I was having was just flushed away. I was like, and of course, on top of all that, they can run away like that. So as far as the 2 big, like, new Galar region features go, I wasn't too impressed. And because I wasn't too impressed, I didn't really hang out in the wild area that much. I think the developers of this game expected me to get to the wild area and be like, oh my goodness, I'm going to come back here after every single gym. I'm going to spend hours here. And this is obviously my opinion and my fault, but I just didn't care enough. I went to the wild area when I had to get to the next town. And then other than that, I kind of just, didn't feel like going there. 2 things that this game has going for it that I really liked was the gym challenges and the music. Instead of an Elite Four and a Pokemon League, or whatever you call it, they have a Pokemon Championship. So it's literally a tournament. You do the 8 gym challenges as like qualifiers. You get to the tournament, and it's literally a bracket instead of the Elite Four. I thought that was super cool. The gym challenges themselves were really neat. They were all super unique. One of them was like you have to catch more Pokemon than the other players, which is like super unique. One of them was like you have to herd the sheep Pokemon into like a pen, and it was like a lot of people hear herding in video games and they're like no, but it was actually pretty fun and worked well. And like Nessa's gym, the water gym leader, her gym was like a back to basics like Pokemon gym puzzle like they had back in the day, so that felt pretty cool. Those were really cool. I liked those. Were they super difficult? No. That's kind of my main point, is that this game wasn't too hard to beat. I only lost and had to go to the Pokemon Center once, and it was to the champion, because the champion was genuinely tough, and I did not expect that. Also, the music. The music was phenomenal. I see a lot of people online complaining about how bad the music is, and I don't get it. I really like the music, especially that one track. I don't know if I can find it. The game like just came out. But if I can find that one bagpipe track from the wild area, I'm going to put it right here. Because it's really good. It's got like leitmotifs of the original Pokemon theme song and from the game, not the TV show. And I just really like it. There was a couple songs that I like was digging on super hard. So I don't know what everyone's complaint about the music is. I liked it a lot. Speaking of other people's complaints, some of you are probably going to notice that I'm not talking about the elephant in the room, the thing that everyone's mad about. And that is the fact that not all the Pokemon are able to be caught in this game. Let me break that down. So past Pokemon games, you couldn't catch every Pokemon in the wild, obviously. That'd be way too many. The map would be so dense with how many different Pokemon you could catch. So they picked a good half or third of them, put them in there. But then what they did was you could obtain all the Pokemon, but the ones that were missing from that region, you just had to bring over from other games. You trade them over. And that's fine. So that way you can, actually complete the Pokedex. Because there's like, I think like 860 Pokemon or something like that at this point. That's crazy. With this game, they just omitted that last part. There's a good half of the Pokemon that are actually out there that are in Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, and all the other ones you cannot trade them over. And the reason I'm not talking about that is because I genuinely don't care. Like, this has never been an issue for me before. I just didn't really care. There was only one Pokemon that I got upset when I found out that it wasn't going to be in Sword and Shield. But honestly, I realistically wasn't going to use them anyways, because I like to fill my team with all new guys, because I want to see what they have to offer. I also wanted to briefly talk about the design of the Pokemon. There wasn't that many Pokemon this time. There was about 80, which isn't bad. I know a lot of people are like 80, but that's way less than 150. Calm down. They've been doing this for years. Gen 6 had like, I think 65 Pokemon, which is I think the lowest they've ever done. So 80 was a nice round number. The Pokemon designs in this game are either the coolest Pokemon I've ever seen or a sin ugly nightmare. Like, I don't know if it's one dude designing them. I don't know if it's like a team of 6 or 7 dudes designing them. I know they made some staff changes on the Pokemon Company for this game. But some of the Pokemon, like, look at this Pokemon. I don't know what's up there right now, but, like, look at this thing. Are you kidding me? And then, in a similar vein, oh my god, look at this thing. Isn't this so cool? Are you kidding me? Look at this thing. It was like 50-50. I was like, oh, new Pokemon. Oh, good, it's a nightmare. The new Gigantamax forms also are really cool. I really liked them. I liked Charizard. I liked Garbodor, probably the best. He's the big trash bag Pokemon. He literally just has more trash, but he's so big that he's got like a building and a boat and like that. I thought that was really cool. A lot of people don't like Garbodor, but I see you, man. I want to circle back to the thing I said at the beginning of the video, which is I really liked this game. And I do this all the time. It's weird me saying that I really liked this game and then going through a laundry list of complaints I had for it. Here's my explanation. So I say this all the time about Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 is the third, I think, installment in the Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, franchise, those types of games. And it's gotta be the worst one. I've played through it twice, and I don't... It's just not 3, it's not 1, it's not Bloodborne, it's just bad, in my opinion. But it's not a bad video game. It's a bad Dark Souls game. Does that make sense? Like, Dark Souls 2 is a great video game. Can't recommend it enough if you're into that kind of game, or if you want to be into that kind of game. When compared to the other Dark Souls games, it's definitely the worst one. You know, I'm not going to list my complaints here because this video isn't about Dark Souls 2, but it's just got like a laundry list of like little tiny things that I was like, well, why did you do it like this time? Because every other time it's great, and this sucks in this version. That's kind of my mentality for this Pokemon game. Pokemon Shield is a good video game, and I recommend it to people who've played Pokemon, and I especially recommend it to people who have never played a Pokemon game before. That being said, it is not a good Pokemon game. As a seasoned Pokemon fan who plays every single game and always gets excited when they drop a new one, this has got to be the worst one that I've played in a couple years, like probably like a good 6 or 7 years. So I'm going to give it 2 scores out of 10. One for its video game score, one for its Pokemon game score. So as a video game, I give this game a solid 8 out of 10. It was great. It delivered, like I said, a lackluster story, but that's not really the point. You're there for the Pokemon catching and the Pokemon training and the becoming champion and trading with your friends and having fun with your friends and telling them that you became champion. As a Pokemon game, I'm going to have to give it a 5 out of 10. I was not impressed. Once I beat the game, there wasn't really anything else for me to do, and I kind of just stopped playing the game, which is weird for me. Usually when a Pokemon game comes out, I'm playing it for like the next year or whatever the hell, because I can never put those games down. And it just upset me. I think a couple words that are accurate to describe this game are short, easy, and bare bones. It felt like the developers of this game were like, we just got to get a Pokemon game out there, put all the things in there that's in every Pokemon game so no one complains, and there you go. Here it is. There's the game. Which is not the case, because I know they spent upwards of 3 years on this game, so I feel like they could have done a little bit more with it. But there is one thing. This is hands down, in my opinion, the best part of the game. So I will leave you with this. My name is Thunder. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.